Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Fumi, and on this channel I post sewing tutorials, DIYs, and like thrift flips and stuff like that. So if any of that interests you, then you definitely want to stick around by subscribing. Now for today's video we're going to be recreating this pair of pants right here. I really like the waistband, like the whole that was the main attraction basically, and I'm using a medium stretch fabric honestly, and I would suggest using stretchy fabric, but you could use something that doesn't have as much stretch. I'm personally using this because I don't want to have to put like a zipper on this side, and that is just like a lot more convenient. Also, that makes this a bit more beginner friendly because I think a lot of stretchy fabrics are very forgiving to work with. So like even when like some measurement mistakes may pop up, as it does for a lot of beginners, like it's really easy to navigate through and still have a wearable piece at the end, right? So yeah, if you would like to see how to make this pair of pants, then you definitely want to stick around. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and of course if you have any questions, also let me know in the comment section and I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. All right then, see you around. Okay, so I have my fabric laid out and it is folded over, so this is the folded edge right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cut the two pieces that are going to make up the backs of the two legs. So that's what I'm going to do now. So first thing is I'm going to mark the length, which is going to be around here because I'm using 44 inches as my full length for my pants. So the first thing I'm doing is marking the length. So over here I have what is going to be the hem of my pants. So we're going to come back up here, this is where our waist is going to be. So we're going to come back up here and start marking all the horizontal points. I'm going to measure my so this is the waistline. So after the waistline, my hip line is about 8.5 inches from my waist. So I'm going to mark that. This is basically the distance between your waist and hips. Just 2 inches from that line is my crotch line. And then after that, I'm going to mark my waist to my knee. And there we have it. So on my waistline, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4 plus an inch for sewing allowance. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on my hip line and just connect those two together. And after that, on my crotch line, I'm going to measure my thigh. I'm going to mark my thigh measurement, that's your round lap, divided by 2 plus an inch for sewing allowance. And now to connect this point to this point, we're just going to do a curved line here. So you should have something like this. Now on your knee area, you're going to take the measurement that you have here, right around your knee, slightly above. So now on this line, we're going to first of all mark the same thing that we have here, which is and then we're going to find the midpoint. Now that we have the midpoint, you're going to take your round knee measurement, divide that by 2, and add an inch for sewing allowance. And then what you have, you're going to measure it here, but you're going to make sure half of that measurement falls here, the other half falls on the other side. So you're going to make sure this is your midpoint. So if, for example, what you have is 8, that means you're going to have 4 inch. You're going to mark 4 inches here and the other 4 inches here. So this is what I have. Now I'm going to connect this point to this point here, and then this point to that. Now for the hem of the pants, this is going to be the widest part because it's flare pants, right? So for this particular pair, I'm not going for like an extra flared look, so I'm going to actually use the exact same measurement that I have up here on my crotch line. So I'm going to use that, maybe add like an inch or half an inch, but that measurement is what I'm going to mark here. So I'm going to mark it somewhere here, and then I'm going to connect this point. I'm going to connect this right here to this corner in a slanted line, and then I'm going to connect that one to wherever the point that I marked on the hem is, so that we can have that flare shape, and that's basically going to be it. But if you want a wider flare, then you have to take note of that when you're folding your fabric over, to ensure that you have a wide enough base for however wide you're going for. And so here's what it looks like. Now going back up, remember at the waist here, at the waist up here, we actually used the hip measurement divided by 4 plus an inch for sewing allowance. So now we're going to come back to that because that was intentional. First of all, I'm actually going to come in here by an inch. And then from this point, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus an inch for sewing allowance. Okay, and so from this point, I'm going to connect this point right here to my hip line. And there you have it. This is what the back of the flare pants look like. So I'm just going to cut this out. So here's what our pant leg looks like, or well, the back half of our pant leg. And now what I'm going to do is fold my fabric over again, and I'm going to show you how we would use this piece that we just cut to cut the front. I mean the back, actually. Sorry, this is the front. I think I probably made that mistake already like 3 times so far, but we just cut the front of the legs. I'm so sorry for that mix up. So this is the front, and we're going to use it to cut the 2 back pieces right now. So let's go. All right, so I have my fabric folded over, and I have placed the piece that we just cut, which is for the front, on top of that. And if you look closely over here on the inner thigh, because that's the crotch area right here, and this is the inner thigh. On the inner thigh, I left a bit of space between our front piece and then the fabric where we're going to be cutting the back piece, because the back is going to be slightly, oh my goodness, is going to be slightly wider than the front, and where that comes in is at the inner thigh area. So from right here at the crotch area all the way to right here at the inner thigh, we're going to add an extra 1.5 inches here, and so I'm going to mark that, and it's going to come all the way and then it will just taper off right before, like right around the flare around here. So I'm going to mark that. And then I'm going to show you how it looks, what it looks like basically. Here's what it looks like. So you can see where I added the extra 1.5 right here, and then the crotch extends by 1.5, and then I added it here again, and then it sort of fades away into the flare of the pants right here. So this is what it looks like. So other than that extra 1.5 that we added there, every other thing is going to be the same. So I'm going to cut right now, and I'm going to cut on this side the exact same thing that we have on the front, and would have the body of our pants ready. After all that, you should have four pieces just like this. So we have 2 of this, which is the front, and 2 of those, which are the back ones, and all that is left to cut is actually the waistband. But before we get around to the waistband, we're going to first of all start assembling the pieces that we have right now. So when it comes to assembling your pants, there are actually different ways to go about this, but most of the time what I usually do is to take one front piece, one back piece, and then join it at this inner thigh area right here. So I do that for both legs. So now you have your 2 legs joined together partially, and then after that I place them together, and then I join the crotch at this area right here, front and back, and then after that I close the outer thigh. So of course, first of all, I'm going to start out by sewing the inner thigh, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Right, after doing that, this is what it looks like. So this is the inner thigh, and one of these two is the front and the other is the back. But this U shape up here, that's the crotch area, and that is where we're going to be joining this leg to the other leg. So you can see that this is the right side of my fabric, because you can't see the raw edges of my seams because it's on the other side, which is the wrong side. What we're going to do next is to lay the second leg on top of this one, right sides of the fabric facing each other, and then we're going to sew along this crotch area right here to join both of them together before proceeding to close both legs by sewing the outer thigh right here. All right, so we have our pants laid out here, and basically what is left to do now is to actually just hem the bottom of the pants and do the waistband. The waistband is the part that I've kind of been dreading, but here we are. Anyway, this is the front of the waist, and what we're going to do is to first create that V shape in front at the front side. Now I'm thinking we could come down by like maybe 2 inches. So for this, it's not too complicated to cut this V, right? All it is a V that comes from the center front, and then it's just going to, if you come down by 2 inches, for example, which is what I think I'm going to be doing, mark 2 inches here, and then connect that point back to the original waistband in a straight line. So I think I'm going to like just take this center front and place it this way, so that when I'm cutting it, it's going to be, I'm just going to do it over, like I'm just going to do it this way, so it's folded in half and it's even on both sides. So let me just set up my camera. Okay, so we have our pants, and this is the center front right here. So I am going to just mark my 2 inches, or maybe I could do 2.5. Okay, so I'm going to go for 2.5. I'm a bit skeptical about this, but let's see. So from that point, I'm going to just connect that here. I don't have a ruler right here with me, so I'm just using my tape as a makeshift, but if you have a ruler, please use that instead. So I'm just going to, so yeah, kind of like that. I'm just going to cut. Oh my goodness. And then here's what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when you lay it It looks good, but I'm going to try it on just to see what it looks like on me, and then if I like it, we'll proceed. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the waistband. I have my fabric out here and I have laid it and it is folded over. Anyway, the waistband is going to be doubled, so it's going to be folded over. So whatever you want the height to be, you double that, right? So because it's folded over, if you want a 2-inch thick waistband, then you make sure that you mark 4 inches for the thickness, and then you add either an inch or maybe an inch and a half for your sewing allowance, because you're going to be attaching it to the body of the pants, right? So also, you're not just going to cut your waist measurement as the width of the waistband, because remember, at the front, the way this waistband is attached at the front, there's an overlapping, right? So you're definitely going to need more than your exact waist measurement. So I'm just cutting a long enough strip of fabric, so it's better you have way too much than too little. Okay, so I think for the thickness of my waistband, I think 2.5 inches would be fine. So if I double that, that's 5 inches, and then I'm going to add an extra inch for my sewing allowance, so that's 6 inches. So I'm just going to mark that, and I'm going to mark it all the way, and then I'm just going to connect those points together. It's a bit off, but you get the idea. And now I'm going to cut my strip of fabric out, and here's what we have. So here's what it looks like. And so when it's folded over and then my sewing allowance is taken away, it would be kind of this thick, which is exactly what I want. I don't want mine to be too thick because my pants are already kind of a bit high-waisted. I don't want it to be too much. So this is kind of what our waistband is supposed to look like, right? So I just laid this out. So I have my waistband and I folded it over and I just placed it. This is where the center. So you want to mark the center point of your waistband and then pin it here. And then I'm just trying to figure it out, because honestly, the waistband of this thing is the one part that I have feared the most. So I just laid it this way, and then I tucked this under here and this one underneath here, and yeah, so like just a rough idea. So I'm just going to try to pin it and see how that works. Okay, so I have my center pinned and then aligned with the center back, and so I'm just going to pin my waistband all around. Now I want the waist to really be snug on me, so as I pin it, I'm going to like stretch my waistband just a bit, just a tiny bit, because I want it to be fitted, but I don't want it to be like, I want it to be fitted and like snatch a bit, but I don't want it to be uncomfortable and too tight. Okay, so I also think another thing that is important to note is at your center front, you want to leave like just about half an inch when you after cutting the V here, and then you close up this stitch. You want to make sure that you have about maybe half or a quarter of an inch. I think this is going to help in attaching the waistband because of the V here. So I'm just going to pin this all the way down to that point, still stretching my waistband just the slightest bit. And there we go. Oh wait, I think the other way. And then the other side. Okay, so this is the thing now, because they are overlapping, one of them, like I guess this one should come inside here, so it should go in there. So I'm going to remove the pin I have here just to do that. This waistband into this place here, and then I'm just going to lay it down properly, and then I'm going to pin it in place. So I make sure I'm pinning both this one and this one here. So just trying to so this is what it looks like. I'm going to sew my waistband, and then I would also press it with my iron. Hopefully it would look a lot better. So here's what our pants look like. I don't know, the V doesn't, it looks more like a U to me than a V. I don't know, let me know what you think. Anyway, this is what it looks like. I've sewn it down and I've pressed it, and I feel like it looks really good. It looks really good, so I'm really happy about this and I can't wait to try it out. But first of all, let's just finish it up. So I'm going to hem the bottom of the legs. So I'm simply going to do a double roll, which is basically when you fold it once and then you fold it again. So that's what I'm going to do all around both legs, and we will be done.